say, you know what, there was one good thing about Donald Trump. He's not a war hawk. He actually wants to be friends with Russia. Hey, that's actually a great concept. I hope he has success in that. I want him to be friendlier to other foreign nations. I think we can't afford to create more enemies or make enemies who we have be even worse enemies. And so I like the fact that he reaches out to him. But that all changed. Then he freaking decides to attack Syria, even though he was like, Obama shouldn't do that. He'd be horrible for attacking Syria. And then he does it himself. I'm like, okay. And then, this is something I don't think. He's tweeting out foreign policy. No. He's tweeting foreign policy. No. Foreign policy should never be something that's limited to 140 characters or less. And he's doing that right now with freaking North Korea. And I'm like, no, we don't freaking tweet. But he wants to tweet foreign policy. I'm like, this is a horrible, horrible idea. There's a way and a method to it that works, and that's not it. All right. Number 38. His political, I see it's a political, I misspelled that, exploitation of Hispanics and Muslims. You know, he's done that more than any other politician. Mitt Romney didn't do it. McCain, freaking George Bush, you know, Bob Dole, George Bush Sr., Ronald Reagan, Gerald Ford, Richard Nixon. No one exploited the fact that, you know, Hispanics or Muslims immigrating to this country, it's such a horrible thing. Oh, my goodness. Rapists. But, oh, yeah, some of them are good. Most is basically implying that most of them suck. Basically, he's exploited the Muslims and Hispanic situation more than any president that I know of. He does it full tilt. And I'm like, okay. It's one thing to say we need to do something about immigration. It's another thing when you start, you know, demonizing them. You understand what I'm saying? It's one thing to say we need to have Hispanics enter the United States legally. This entering the United States illegally has to stop, and we've got to do something about this. It's hurting our economy. If he kept it like that, that'd be one thing. But when he started fear-mongering and going, oh, they're rapists, they're freaking killers, they're gangbangers, they're just drugs, then he's exploiting the situation, you know. And I'm like, okay, you're playing upon people's fears. And I'm like, this is not cool. Anyway, that's 38. We're almost done. 39. His third grade insults. This is just style for me, but I'm like, Crooked Hillary, freaking Lion Ted. I'm like, please, can we use more? If you're going to insult people, can we at least use more, you know, higher grade? Can we at least go with sophomoric? Can we at least go with sophomoric freaking insults? But you can't even reach the level of sophomoric insults. You have to go down to third grader, fourth grader insults. And I'm like, this is stupidity. It's like, I'm like, no, boo-boo. I know you are, but what am I? You suck. I'm like, okay. And so it's like, there is no, it's like, please, insult, if you're going to insult people, please insult people like your grown adult does. And don't use, you know, junior high level, third, fourth grade level freaking insults. Can you please at least have at least the class enough to disrespect people like grown adults do? And you don't. And it's an embarrassment to the nation how bad he is at that. All right. Next. His lack of focus. You know, I think even Republicans can agree on this one. Is that instead of, you know, him, saying, we need to have the healthcare pass. It's going to be the greatest thing ever. And just focusing on that, hammering away at that, he doesn't do that. He goes, Mika bleeding from the face. Fake news. I'm like, dude, focus. Focus on policy. Focus on policy. Instead, what makes the news is the stupid Twitter rants that he has. I'm like, he's the president of the United States. He could have people actually talking about freaking healthcare or, building the wall or whatever policy agenda that he has. He could do that. And yeah, you could say, well, he's doing that. Yes, but his other tweets sidetrack that, Instead of people talking about healthcare this weekend, what were we talking about? We were talking about freaking Donald Trump clotheslining freaking Vince McMahon with a CNN logo on his head that was edited into the video. I'm like, really? That's what we were talking about? Him talking about Mika, the CNN thing. I'm like, that's not focus. That's not what a focused president does. He could have talked more and, talked about his policy and then just not talked about the other stuff because that sidetracked everything. And so he doesn't know what he's doing, and it's just sidetracking all his policies. So that's a problem. Next one, this is one that most people don't realize. His treatment of his brother's family. His brother died. Basically, he was an alcoholic, and he died before his father died. So then he had these kids that he wasn't that well off. He was somewhat well off, but not well off like Donald Trump. What does Donald Trump do? His brother dies, and then just before his father's death, when his father has Alzheimer's, he gets him to change the will, and he completely has his brother left out of the family will. And I feel like that was a extremely jerky thing to do. That's extremely not cool at all. But he did that. Okay. Number 42. Elimination of loan restrictions. Do you remember that big old Great Recession we had in 2007 and 8? Or 2008 and 9, actually. That lasted about 18 months. Do you remember that? The reason for that recession was because we didn't have any loan restrictions and anyone could freaking get a house. Now, if it was just left at that, where, freaking anyone could get, that'd be one thing. But unfortunately, the companies that had these housing businesses said, oh, look at the great profit we're making. And then they themselves bought other things. And so, and everything was a house of cards. And it was all based, the foundation of the economy. The foundation of the economy was based on these crummy subprime loans for houses. What does he do? He eliminates that. Says, yeah, we'll just go back to how it was. What the freak are you doing? You're just going to create another Great Recession because, how people are going to, again, give subprime mortgages to people who can't afford it. Next thing you know, they foreclose and we have a problem. But no, it's like, yeah, whatever. So that's a huge problem. This, in the long run, is going to hurt us 4 or 5 years down the road. This is a problem. 43. And he plays upon people's fears. Basically, it's not a message of hope. And it's just basically a negative message. He's like, oh, this is going to be horrible. The Democrat. It's not about how he has a message to make America. Yeah, his thing was to make America great again. But he didn't. He was like, my vision of America, we can be, fantastic. He was a Ronald Reagan optimist, is what I'm trying to say. Ronald Reagan basically, had this conservative optimism. And he doesn't have that. He doesn't even have the George Bush optimism. He's an extremely negative human being. And he plays upon people's feelings like the freaking Mexican rapist and how Muslims are going to bomb the country. Yes, I get. Yes, we've had a lot of freaking Muslim terrorist attacks over the past 10 years. I get that. Or past 20. Yeah, I get that. I get that. I get that. I get that. But he's still playing upon fears. He's still freaking playing upon fears. Yes, I get about the attacks and terrorism and all that. And all the freaking, oh, I'm going to get rid of ISIS. ISIS is still around. And, you know, oh, countries will respect us. Oh, yeah, you don't have to worry. And like freaking North Korea just launched an ICBM. Yeah, they're really respecting you, Donald. Uh-huh. So, my whole point is, he's a fearmonger. He's not someone that's optimistic. He's not a positive person. He's negative. And there you go. These are the 43 things I have a problem with Donald Trump. And yeah, I just wish we had someone better. And no matter who it is, I do believe whoever replaces Trump, whether it be 4 years, 2 years, which I doubt, 4 years from now, or 8 years if he somehow wins the 2020 elections, whoever replaces him, I have a lot higher confidence will do a much, much better job. And people will go down in history books and say, 100 years from now, people will be like, how did they make this man president? What were they thinking? What were they thinking? And I guess the only response could be is they wanted something different. And they wanted something different, even if the guy was an incompetent bully buffoon who didn't know what he was doing and had the ego to think that he did. All right, those are my 43 problems with Trump. And yeah, it's an hour and 10 minutes and 2 seconds. But hey, I had a lot to say. Bye.